The security guard looked him up and down twice, then shook his head. "Sorry, sir, this executive lounge is for our premium members only." The man in the wrinkled shirt nodded quietly, stepped aside, and pulled out a small notebook. What the guard didn't know was that he'd just denied entry to the company's founder, and this was the 23rd time he documented this exact discrimination. Tomorrow, 17 people would lose their jobs. The terminal hums with the familiar chaos of American travel. Announcements echo across polished floors. Wheeled luggage clicks past like a mechanical heartbeat. Gate C12 sits adjacent to the gleaming glass entrance of the Pinnacle Executive Lounge, where a small brass plaque reads, "Premium Members Only." Benjamin Torres approaches the entrance. Mid-50s, salt and pepper beard, wire-rimmed glasses, slightly fogged from the walk. His button-down shirt shows the wrinkles of a long day, sleeves rolled to the elbows. A worn leather messenger bag hangs across his shoulder, the kind professors carry, not executives. Behind the frosted glass doors, soft jazz plays. Leather chairs, crystal decanters, the quiet luxury that whispers rather than shouts. Benjamin reaches for the door handle. Marcus Wright, 50s, crisp uniform, name tag gleaming, steps forward with a practiced smile of someone who's made this judgment 1,000 times before. "Excuse me, sir. This lounge is for our premium members only. Do you have your membership card?" Benjamin pauses, hands still on the chrome handle. Through the glass, he can see a man in a tailored charcoal suit being welcomed by name. No card requested, no questions asked. "I'm a Diamond Elite member. Been flying with Pinnacle for..." "I'll need to see some verification, sir. We've had some issues lately with non-members trying to access the lounge." Marcus's eyes do a quick inventory: wrinkled shirt, scuffed shoes, canvas bag. The calculation is swift and silent, but Benjamin catches it. He's been watching for it. "Of course." Benjamin reaches into his jacket pocket, not for a membership card, but for a small black notebook, leather-bound, edges worn smooth from constant handling. He flips it open, finds a page already dense with handwriting, and adds a new line. "Entry denied, Atlanta. Visual assessment. No verification attempted." Marcus watches, confused, as Benjamin caps his pen with deliberate care. "Thank you for your thoroughness." Benjamin steps aside, settling into one of the public terminal chairs directly across from the lounge entrance. Close enough to observe, far enough to remain invisible. What Marcus doesn't know, what nobody in this terminal knows, is that Benjamin Torres isn't just another road-weary traveler. He's Benjamin Rivera Torres, founder and CEO of Pinnacle Airlines, the company that employs Marcus, the company whose logo adorns every gate, every uniform, every promise of service excellence. And this is the 23rd time in 14 days that his own employees have judged him unworthy of the service he built his empire to provide. Flashback. 3 weeks earlier. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame the Manhattan skyline. Around a polished mahogany table sit the faces that run American aviation. Executives, analysts, lawyers. Charts and graphs project onto wall-mounted screens, all telling the same story in different colors. Customer satisfaction, declining. Brand loyalty, slipping. Social media sentiment, turning toxic. Elena Vasquez, 50s, silver hair pulled back, chief operating officer for 16 years, slides a tablet across the table to Benjamin. Even in his corner office regalia, Italian leather shoes, Swiss watch, tie that cost more than most people's rent, something in his expression suggests storm clouds gathering. It's not just the numbers anymore, Ben. It's the tone. People aren't complaining about delays or lost luggage. They're complaining about being dismissed. Benjamin scrolls through comment after comment, treated like I didn't belong there. Staff looked right through me, felt like I was being judged before I even spoke. When did we stop seeing passengers as people? That's the question, isn't it? Because somewhere between quarterly targets and efficiency metrics, something shifted, and it's showing. Benjamin leans back, the weight of 18 years of company building settling on his shoulders. Pinnacle Airlines hadn't started as a corporate giant. It began with 3 leased planes, a converted warehouse in Newark, and a promise that flying could be dignified for everyone. Now apparently dignity had conditions. Benjamin said, "Remember when I went undercover in 2015? Phoenix, baggage handling crisis?" You mean when you threw out your back loading suitcases for a week and discovered our contractors were stealing? Worth every pulled muscle. We learned more in 7 days than in 6 months of reports. Elena sees where this is heading. Her expression shifts from professional concern to personal worry. Ben, you're not exactly anonymous anymore. Forbes cover stories, congressional hearings, that charity gala where you sat next to the Secretary of Transportation. Benjamin turns to study the wall behind him. Awards, accolades, photographs with politicians and celebrities. The trappings of success that distance you from the reality of what you've built. To most of our frontline staff, I'm just a name in an employee handbook, a face on a training video they skip through. What are you thinking? 2 weeks, main domestic routes, no corporate account, no special treatment, no safety net. I want to feel what our customers feel when nobody knows they're being watched. Elena stares at him for a long moment. 16 years of partnership have taught her to recognize when Benjamin's mind is made up. This is either brilliant or insane. Maybe both. But if we've built a company that treats people differently based on their appearance, I need to know, and I need to fix it. Benjamin sits in the uncomfortable plastic chair, notebook balanced on his knee, watching the evening rhythm of Gate C12. His transformation had been simpler than expected. Clothes from Target instead of Nordstrom, wire-rimmed reading glasses, a beard grown just scruffy enough to suggest someone who'd stopped caring about corporate impressions. The hardest part wasn't the disguise. It was the silence, watching injustice happen and doing nothing. Yet. David Mitchell settles into the seat beside him, late 50s, weathered face, carrying a canvas duffel that's seen better years. He wears khakis and a polo shirt, clothes that whisper retired teacher rather than business traveler. They did the same thing to me last month. Benjamin looks up from his notes. David continues, the lounge. Marcus over there has perfected the art of making people feel small without saying anything technically wrong. This happen often? Often enough that I started keeping track. David pulls out his phone, shows Benjamin a notes app filled with dates, times, descriptions. 15 years flying Pinnacle, Diamond Elite since 2018. But apparently that only matters when I'm wearing a suit. Benjamin's pulse quickens. This isn't just his observation anymore. It's a pattern with witnesses. Ever file a complaint? David laughs, but there's no humor in it. 3 times, got the usual corporate response. We value your feedback and will use it to improve our service. Nothing changed. If anything, it got worse. Behind them, the lounge doors open. A woman in designer jeans and expensive sneakers walks through without stopping. No card check, no verification. Marcus nods and smiles. See that? Happens every day. It's not about membership. It's about looking like you belong. Benjamin makes another note, but his handwriting is tighter now, more urgent. What if someone could make it stop? Someone with authority, you mean? Someone who could actually change things? David studies Benjamin's face, something shifting in his expression. You're not just a passenger, are you? Benjamin meets his eyes but doesn't answer directly. Let's just say I'm someone who believes that loyalty should be rewarded equally, regardless of your wardrobe. A boarding announcement crackles overhead. Both men stand, gathering their belongings. Well, whoever you are, I hope you have more influence than I do, because this company used to be better than this. As David walks toward the gate, Benjamin remains seated for another moment. He flips to a fresh page in his notebook and writes, "Pattern confirmed, not isolated incidents, systemic, multiple witnesses. Employee Marcus Wright, location ATL Terminal C. Time to escalate." He closes the notebook and stands. Tomorrow, he flies to Phoenix. After that, Chicago, then Denver. By the time he returns to New York, he'll have enough evidence to burn down the culture that's infected his company. But first, he needs to see how deep the corruption runs. Benjamin sits in 23C, middle seat by choice. To his left, a college student sleeps against the window. To his right, a businessman scrolls through emails, cologne sharp enough to cut glass. 3 rows ahead, Patricia Sandoval moves through her flight attendant routine with practiced efficiency. Name tag polished, smile calibrated, movements precise. Benjamin recognizes her from his previous Denver flight, but she shows no recognition of him. What she doesn't know is that Benjamin has been documenting her behavior for the past 6 days. The pattern is clear. Service quality correlates directly with passenger appearance. Row 7, businessman in tailored shirt gets extra pretzels without asking. Row 15, elderly woman in cardigan ignored when she signals for assistance. Row 21, young man in designer sneakers offered upgrade to premium economy. Row 24, mother with crying baby asked to keep it down, while passengers in business attire receive sympathetic smiles. Benjamin watches it all, noting times, seats, exact phrases. But it's what happens next that changes everything. Patricia pulls out her phone, thumbs moving quickly across the screen. Benjamin's angle gives him a clear view of her conversation. Text message visible on screen. Another flagged passenger on 447, seat 23C, matches description from ATL. Response appears immediately. Copy that. Same protocol. Random security check at arrival. Patricia types back. Roger. Marcus flagged him at lounge yesterday. Benjamin's blood turns to ice water. This is an unconscious bias. This is an accidental discrimination. This is coordinated, systematic, deliberate. They're tracking him. He leans back in his seat, face carefully neutral, but his mind races. How many other passengers have been flagged? How many loyal customers have been subjected to additional scrutiny simply because they didn't fit someone's visual profile of premium? More importantly, who gave the order? The city spreads out 40 floors below, lights blinking like earthbound stars. Benjamin sits at his desk, still wearing the clothes of Jim Harper, road-weary traveler, but his eyes hold the focused intensity of a man who's seen enough. Elena enters without knocking, the only person in the company with that privilege. Elena, you look like hell. Benjamin, feel worse, but I found it, Elena. Not just the bias, the system behind it. He slides his notebook across the desk. 2 weeks of observations, patterns, names, evidence that would make prosecutors weep with joy. Elena, how bad? Benjamin, bad enough that they flagged me for surveillance, their own CEO, because I didn't look the part. Elena flips through pages, her expression growing darker with each entry. Benjamin continues. It starts with Thomas Reed. He came over from our acquisition of Horizon West Airlines last year, fast-tracked into regional operations. He's been implementing what he calls service optimization protocols, which means staff have been trained to make judgment calls about passenger value based on appearance. Not explicitly, that would be illegal, but through winks and nods and phrases like brand-aligned presentation. Benjamin pulls up internal communications on his laptop, emails between Reed and regional managers, training memos that never explicitly mention discrimination, but create a framework for it. Look at this. Staff should prioritize passenger interactions based on brand impact and customer lifetime value indicators. Elena, that sounds almost reasonable until you realize they're teaching people to assess lifetime value by looking at someone's shoes and luggage. Reed has turned discrimination into efficiency metrics. Elena closes the notebook, her face pale. Elena, how many people? Benjamin, 17 that I can prove, probably more. Marcus Wright, Patricia Sandoval, the entire Atlanta Lounge management team, and they're all following protocols that Reed established and middle management approved. Benjamin, they created a shadow policy, one that doesn't exist in any handbook, but gets passed down through training and team meetings. Use your judgment. Prioritize premium experiences. Trust your instincts about customer profiles. Elena stands pacing to the window. We could have lawsuits, federal discrimination charges. This could destroy everything we've built. Benjamin, it's already destroying what we built. We just didn't know it. Benjamin's voice carries the weight of betrayal, not just professional, but personal. This company was supposed to be different, better. Benjamin, call an emergency board meeting. Tomorrow, 9 a.m., full documentation, legal present, HR on standby. And Elena, she turns back to him. Benjamin, Reed's termination is non-negotiable. Anyone who implemented his protocols, anyone who enforced them, anyone who knew and stayed silent, they're done. Elena, Ben, firing 17 people in one day will send shockwaves. Benjamin, good. Let them feel what our passengers felt. Let them know that actions have consequences. Elena nods, recognizing the steel in his voice that built this company from nothing. Elena, what about you? Reed will know you were the passenger they flagged. Benjamin's smile holds no warmth. I'm counting on it. The mahogany table that once hosted quarterly celebrations now serves as a tribunal. 12 board members, 3 lawyers, 2 HR executives, and 1 very angry CEO. Benjamin has transformed back into his corporate self. Charcoal suit, Italian leather shoes, the kind of watch that whispers power. But everyone in the room can see something has changed. There's an edge to him now, sharp and unforgiving. Benjamin, what I'm about to show you isn't theoretical. It's not market research or customer surveys. It's evidence of systematic discrimination happening in our name, with our uniforms, under policies we approved. The presentation begins with numbers, complaint trends, satisfaction scores, loyalty program defections. Then comes the human element. Benjamin's notebook, projected onto the wall-mounted screen. Handwritten observations, dates, names, patterns that can't be dismissed or explained away. Board member Patricia Wells. This seems anecdotal at best. A few isolated incidents blown out of... Benjamin. Anecdotal? Benjamin's voice doesn't rise, but it cuts through the room like a blade. Benjamin. Let me tell you what's anecdotal, Patricia. Anecdotal is when your own CEO gets flagged for random security checks 3 times in 5 days because he doesn't look expensive enough. Anecdotal is when 15-year Diamond Elite members start documenting discrimination because they've lost faith in our complaint system. He clicks to the next slide. Internal communications between Thomas Reed and his regional managers. Benjamin, this is systemic, coordinated, and it stops today. For the next 40 minutes, Benjamin walks them through the architecture of discrimination that Reed had built. Hiring practices that favored brand-aligned candidates, training programs that emphasized customer profiling, performance metrics that rewarded efficient service allocation. All code words, all legally defensible, all morally bankrupt. Board member James Larson. The financial exposure here could be enormous. Lawsuits, settlements, regulatory scrutiny? Benjamin, you know what's more expensive than lawsuits, James? Losing the trust of the people who built this company, our customers, our employees who still believe in doing the right thing. Benjamin stands, moving to the window that overlooks LaGuardia Airport. Pinnacle jets taxi along the runway, each one carrying people who trust the company to treat them with dignity. Benjamin, I started this airline because I believed flying could be different, better. We weren't going to be the company that treated people like cargo. We were going to see them, serve them, respect them. Benjamin turns back to the room. Benjamin, somewhere along the way, we forgot that promise. Today, we remember it. The vote is unanimous for immediate termination of Thomas Reed and 16 others, full policy review and overhaul, mandatory bias training for all customer-facing staff, and the establishment of a passenger advocacy council with direct reporting to the CEO. But Benjamin isn't finished. One more thing. Benjamin, every executive in this room, myself included, will spend 2 days per quarter working frontline positions, gates, lounges, baggage claim, phone support. If you're going to make decisions about customer service, you're going to understand what that service actually looks like. Some grumbling, but no objections. The evidence is too damning, the moral case too clear. As the board files out, Elena remains behind. Elena, Reed won't go quietly. Benjamin, I'm counting on it. Thomas Reed sits across from Benjamin, two security officers stationed by the door. Mid-40s, perfectly groomed, wearing the kind of confidence that comes from never being held accountable. Thomas Reed: Ben, if this is about the operational efficiency metrics, I can explain. Benjamin: explain how you turned customer service into customer profiling? Benjamin slides a folder across the table. Internal communications, training materials, performance reviews that rewarded Good. Let them know that actions have consequences. And, Elena, yeah? Schedule a company-wide broadcast for tomorrow morning. Every employee, every location. Time for them to hear the truth. Benjamin stands alone before the camera. No script, no teleprompter. Across the country, in break rooms and terminals, crew lounges and baggage facilities, 28,000 employees watch live. Benjamin: many of you know me as the founder of this company. What you might not know is that I started Pinnacle with 3 rented planes, a converted warehouse, and no guarantee we'd survive the first year. He pauses, letting his words settle. Benjamin: I built this airline on a simple promise, that flying could be dignified for everyone, that service meant seeing people, not judging them, that respect wasn't a luxury item. His voice carries the weight of disappointment and determination in equal measure. Benjamin: 2 weeks ago, I discovered we'd broken that promise, not through malice, but through systems that allowed bias to masquerade as efficiency, through policies that turned our people into judges of who deserved dignity. Benjamin's voice grows stronger, more resolved. Yesterday, we terminated 17 employees whose actions violated our core values. We eliminated protocols that enabled discrimination, and we began rebuilding a culture that serves all passengers equally. He leans forward slightly, speaking directly to the camera, as if addressing each viewer personally. Benjamin: some of you might be wondering why I'm telling you this publicly. The answer is simple. Because silence enables injustice, and this company will no longer be silent when our values are violated. Benjamin: to our customers who felt dismissed, overlooked, or judged, I apologize, not with corporate speak or legal language, but as a human being who failed to protect the promise that brought you to us in the first place. Benjamin: to our employees who witnessed unfairness and stayed silent, I understand. Speaking up feels risky when you're not sure the system will support you. Today, I'm telling you it will. Benjamin: we're implementing new training, new oversight, and new accountability measures. But more than that, we're remembering why we exist, to serve people with dignity regardless of their appearance, their accent, or their ability to afford first-class tickets. The broadcast ends with Benjamin's direct gaze into the camera, unwavering and resolute. Benjamin sits in the same terminal chair where his investigation began, but everything has changed. He wears a casual button-down and khakis, not a disguise this time, just comfortable travel clothes. David Mitchell approaches, recognizing him immediately now. David: Mr. Torres? Or should I call you Jim Harper? Benjamin: Ben works fine. How was your flight experience today? David: different. Better. The lounge staff actually welcomed me by name, asked about my family, made me feel like they were happy to see me. Benjamin: that's how it should be. How it's always supposed to be. David: you know, I kept those notes, all those incidents I documented. Thought you might want them for your files. Benjamin: keep them. Reminder of what we're never going back to. They shake hands, two men who understand that change requires witnesses, courage, and the willingness to act when action feels impossible. As David walks toward his gate, Benjamin pulls out his phone and scrolls through recent customer feedback. Felt truly welcomed for the first time in years. Staff took time to help without me asking. Finally feels like they see me as a person, not just a seat number. Progress.
Not perfection, but progress. Marcus White approaches from the lounge entrance. He's still employed. Benjamin believed in second chances for those willing to learn, but his demeanor has completely changed. Marcus: "Mr. Torres, I wanted to thank you." Benjamin: "For what?" Marcus: "For showing me who I'd become, and for giving me the chance to be better." Benjamin studies the young man's face, seeing genuine remorse and determination. Benjamin: "We all have moments where we lose sight of what matters. The question is what we do when we remember." Marcus: "I won't forget again, sir." As Marcus returns to work, Benjamin stands and gathers his belongings. His flight to Seattle boards in 30 minutes, but this time he's traveling as himself, CEO, founder, and guardian of the promise that built Binnacle Airlines. The notebook remains in his bag, not as a tool of investigation, but as a reminder. Because the moment you stop watching, the moment you assume the system will maintain itself, is the moment injustice creeps back in. The Passenger Advocacy Council meets for the 6th time. 12 customers from across the country sharing their experiences and recommendations directly with Benjamin and the executive team. David Mitchell serves as council chair, his printed notes replaced by comprehensive monthly reports tracking service quality improvements. Customer satisfaction scores have risen to their highest levels in company history. More importantly, complaint patterns show a fundamental shift. Passengers now report feeling seen, valued, respected. But Benjamin knows this is just the beginning. Benjamin: "The moment we think we've solved this is the moment we start sliding backwards. Bias doesn't disappear because we pass policies. It requires constant vigilance." Elena nods from across the table. Elena: "The quarterly frontline rotations are making a difference. Hard to ignore service problems when you're the one delivering the service." Benjamin: "Good. Keep it up, and keep the broadcast schedule, monthly check-ins with all staff. Transparency prevents corruption." As the meeting concludes, Benjamin walks to his office window. Below, Pinnacle jets prepare for departure, each one carrying people who trust the company to treat them with dignity. The phone rings. Elena's voice comes through the speaker. Elena: "Ben, we just got a call from American Airlines. Their CEO wants to discuss implementing similar bias training programs. Apparently, our customer satisfaction turnaround is getting industry attention." Benjamin smiles, but it's tempered with determination rather than satisfaction. "Set up the meeting." But Elena: "Yeah? I'm going undercover again next month. Dallas, Phoenix, Chicago. Need to make sure we're maintaining standards." A pause on the line. Elena: "Some habits never die, do they?" Benjamin: "The good ones shouldn't." Benjamin hangs up and returns to his desk. In the top drawer, his investigation notebook sits alongside a new one, blank pages waiting to document whatever challenges tomorrow might bring. Because the fight for dignity never ends. It just finds new battles. And Benjamin Torres, CEO, founder, and guardian of promises, will be ready. Now, let me ask you a question. Would you have stayed silent, or would you have spoken up? Every day, people are judged by their appearance rather than their character. What will you do the next time you witnessed injustice? Don't share this unless you're ready to be the change you want to see. You can subscribe only if you genuinely love real stories of courage. See you tomorrow, same time today. Peace.